really bothering me.
Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche podcast. That was not fun. That was not a good hockey game.
It was bullshit.
It sucked.
It was bullshit.
Actually, I should save that game. Now that I think about it, because I have not been sleeping well lately. Put that game on, I'll be asleep in a second.
I used to say that the Red Badge of Courage was the book that cured my insomnia when I was younger.
Sure.
That hockey game is the
it's a great cure. Yeah.
Sports equivalent of that.
It was just not good. It was not. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities to this hockey game in any.
Yeah, the best part is that it was over.
Yeah.
The clock is number one stud.
That's
Thank you for hitting 0.
Stud and dud.
Get us out
Studs
of there.
and duds. Sorry. Stud and duds. Yeah.
Yeah. Tonight is stud and duds. Yeah.
The stud and the duds.
Worst band.
Not a great band. Not a great band. Where to start? I guess we should start with the 60-second rundown, huh? Tiff's even got the clock up.
3, 2, 1, go. It's the first time I'm ever ready.
First period actually wasn't that bad. Felt like the Avs started pretty good, but they weren't able to convert that into a goal. They inevitably do give up the first goal of the game because they failed to capitalize on their chances. But one quality play springs Nathan MacKinnon, who has a beautiful finish to get the Avs' only goal of the game. You don't feel terrible after the first period, and then the Avs ghost the next 2 periods of the game for the most part. The second period wasn't awful, but the Avs aren't able to generate much offensively, and they do give up 1 goal Nashville's way. And then the Avs basically just don't show up for the third period. They get completely destroyed. Down 1 into the third period. I think they ended up getting outshot 18-6 by the end. Maybe they got 18-7 or something, but just completely dominated.
Sick.
In a 1-goal game in third period. It was not competitive by any stretch. They gave up 3 goals in the third to lose 5-1.
Nice. Holla.
It's tough because if the Avs go out there and play decent and just get beat by a better team, fine, whatever. They're just not good enough. Yeah. But you watch a game like this and you're going, and the question isn't, oh, are the Avs bad? The question is, where are they? Because it felt like half the team just didn't show up tonight.
Yeah, half.
I'm being generous.
That's very generous.
Hey, listen.
Bless you.
Plain and simple, not good enough to win in this league. And remember we talked about before in the pregame, like, match their intensity. You know, this is a team that's, securely settled in the 8th spot.
Gotta chill.
Sorry.
We're all connected on a desk on this one.
So securely settled kind of, in the 8th spot as it's, whatever. But still, I mean, that's 8 in a row they win. That means they drop a couple, their spot isn't that secure. But we said match their intensity. So if you look at it tonight, I mean, I don't think you really can say that they matched their intensity. I mean, one team was playing, playoff tight hockey, and look at their lineup. I mean, there's a lot of holes in Nashville's lineup. I mean, you're like, what? Really? But
What?
But if you dissect it, they go 2 for 3 on the power play, so you lose a special teams battle. Their goalie makes the key saves, yours doesn't. So right away, you're at 2 key ingredients and the intensity is not there. So you have 3 key ingredients that, if you lose those 3, it's a tough battle to win in this league. So, not good enough. Give a shit meter very low tonight. Disappointing. I mean, you walked in, you said, "What do you think?" And I said, "No, I feel good. I feel good for this game." And AJ was looking at me like, "Wah, wah, wah." He was right. God, I hate saying that.
Over the last 10 years or so, as everybody has gravitated towards putting every thought they've ever had onto the internet, dating has become this chaotic hellscape for everybody. And one of the lessons that has been repeatedly driven into everybody is that when somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
This was game 62 on the season. And at this point, the Avalanche have shown us who they are, and maybe it's just time for us to believe them. They're a mediocre road team, an awesome home team, and they're driven almost entirely by an elite center having a career year and other star players who are just not up to the level that we have come to expect from them, and a goalie who's having a bad season. Not even making a judgment on Georgiev's future. He was really good last year. He's been subpar this year. And this is the kind of game that if I'm Chris McFarland, this makes me nervous about giving up a first-round pick and doing everything that I have to do in the next week in order to try and move off of Ryan Johansson's contract and bring in a second-line center and maybe a backup goaltender or maybe another defenseman or whatever the hell he's going to end up doing. This is the kind of game that makes me nervous because it's not like you look at it and say, oh, man, they were one center away in this game from really being there. It is yet another road game that they just weren't overly competitive in. And it's incredibly disappointing that we're still in this room, that there's still, okay, you blow out Chicago the other day. Great. On the night that it happened, cool. That's what you had to do. Credit. How do you build from it? Did you build any momentum whatsoever? No. You went out and ghosted the next game. You're not even competitive. You played 5 good minutes to start the first period.
And you had one other good play.
And you had one good play capitalized on by your best player.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game is irrelevant. The rest of the game, you're not competitive. There's no intensity. The one little glimmer of hope in the third period. It's 2-1. You're building a little bit of momentum. You've had a couple of good shifts. You take a stupid penalty away from the play. They score on the power play, and the game's over.
Yep.
I mean, is it leadership? Is it talent? Is it coaching? Sure. Pick one. Which one do you look at and say, no, that was good enough tonight?
It wasn't.
And I mean, it's not. I really don't want to overreact to one game in a vacuum because we have often talked about, can we just talk about the game as is?
But you've seen the Avs play this game or something similar,
right?
Half a dozen plus
times. We've watched this game over and over and over now. They've built a body of work where, and I've said repeatedly, if this is the team that goes into the postseason, no, they're not a contender.
Yep.
No. This version of Cale Makar? No. This version of Alexander Georgiev? No. You're first-round fodder. You're going to make somebody, a bunch of somebody's a bunch of money when you're favored in a first-round series because your reputation exceeds your reality in that moment. So, yeah, there is hope that adding Val Nichushkin next week will matter, that adding a Nikolai Kovalenko whenever he comes in might matter, that adding another guy at the deadline that can play center for you might matter. Yeah, those are all things that could make a difference for you. But until those things actually start to happen, you look at the roster that played tonight and you just look at the fact that we've seen this game far too many times, and I'm exhausted, man. I said the other day I was tired by the Mikko Rantanen experience, and right now I'm tired by this version of the Colorado Avalanche. It's just too frequent. They need it. We talked about it after getting home from that road trip and after the Maple Leafs game that their schedule was going to lighten up a little bit and they needed to go on a little bit of a heater, and they didn't. You're now back to zero. I'm tired, man. None of this is good enough. None of this is acceptable. All the talk about culture and winning and all that. Where the fuck is it? Where is it? Where is the stand up? Where is the fight? Where's the heart? We're at least gonna go down swinging. They just went away in this game. A 2-1 game going into the third period, and they don't just, I don't even want to talk about it because what is there to say other than this is unacceptable?
I think it boils down to that in a big term, but
it's unacceptable.
There are still a couple of things I want to get into, starting off with what you're talking about. Anytime that your fourth line is your best line,
Yeah,
particularly in a game where they did not score a goal.
that's tough.
And there's nothing against fourth liners. Those are great players. They're in the NHL for a reason.
Yeah, if you're built that way, like Seattle, if you're built that way at times like a Vegas, fine.
But you're watching.
You're not built that way.
You watched 8 of the Avs 12 forwards just outright disappear at best tonight, and some of them actively detrimental to the game.
Yeah, the one thing that did feel anomalous to me was your third line. Your Wood
Just had an off night.
Wood
man.
Colton LOC line does not play that poorly as a group very often.
No, tonight they were awful.
And they were so bad.
They were butt awful.
You can look at that and you can be like, all right.
But
That's a sore
that doesn't.
thumb.
If your third line has an off night, that shouldn't lose you a hockey game outright.
It should not. It should not.
And the real problem here, as far as the Avs lineup for me, what point are we hitting the panic button about the Avs top pairing? Cale Makar was outright awful tonight.
Is there a panic button to hit? Because there isn't anything that you can do about it.
You can panic. You can sit there and be panicking, even if there's nothing you can do. But
I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of like when the Challenger exploded. There's nothing you can do about it, man.
Sit there and take it, but it doesn't feel good.
You're just gonna panic about it? No, man. It's just you're done. Man. Comet hits Earth, and we all just the sun goes out. If there's anything to do, you kind of it's just done. Those are bad examples. Those are a little more serious than a hockey game.
And there have been.
I'm sorry. That was not good.
Not great, but there have been plenty of stretches this year where Makar has been just okay or fine, but not good enough or whatever. But you look at tonight, you look at the last game the Avs played against Nashville. Cale Makar is actively losing the Avalanche games.
Yeah.
And your top defenseman just can't do that. Like, you will not go anywhere if that's what's happening to you.
Yeah, and like obviously the second goal, he just
he's
falls
lost.
down and
He's
loses
lost,
a puck,
yeah.
and the fact that it's happened twice in Nashville, you're kind of like, oh, that's weird. But you look at the rest of the body of work that he put out there tonight, and it's just like this is
good.
This is so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, he can't be at 100%. This is what
I
this is just
agree.
what
I
I've
fully
got,
agree.
Obviously,
We have felt this way.
we all feel the same way. This is
62
not
games?
normal. I don't think he's at 100%. And even tonight, I mean, I don't know. Somebody was saying that he might have been sick or whatever.
But at
I don't
what
know.
point is it, hey, dude, take a day off?
Well,
Like,
no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. So this is what managing is. This is what coaching is. This is what being a pro too, as the player, kind of being honest with yourself and your teammates, and they need him to be at as close as it can be to his best, right? Come playoff time. So
Honestly,
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If it is. We're all humans too, you know what I mean? Like he might be going through a stretch. He really hasn't had a stretch in his 3-4 years that he's been, whatever it is that he's been here, right? I mean, it's always top and top. Maybe he's got something. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like he's going through something, or
yeah.
But you're right. I mean, in order for the Avs to be at their best, they need Cale Makar to be at his best and to be the best defenseman in the National Hockey League, which he
can't
is.
be actively bad.
That's right.
He's
That's
got to
right.
hit a certain floor.
And what I'm saying is, then it makes Devontae's, not as good, right? Because Cale makes people better. He does. He just does. He makes a team better. He makes the forwards that he plays, on the ice with better. He makes his partner better. So it's a chain reaction.
Devon Toews has always been Robin to Cale Makar's Batman, and right now they're both Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a Robin
Devon
movie?
Toews might be Alfred at this point.
I mean, have you ever seen a Robin movie? No, because nobody wants to watch that shit.
Usually the Robin movie is
There have been 17 Batman movies
he
in my
becomes
life.
Batman. That's how that works, right?
Right, like Devon Taves can't be Batman.
No, it's like a good, what's it called? Breaking Bad. And, and then there's Better Call Saul. You know what I mean? It's good.
I feel like both of those are way too loved for this conversation.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
they're both good, but one's better and one's breaking all the records.
Breaking Bad just sucks.
Oh, come on.
I'm in this boat, to be
Bad
honest.
Come on. It's the greatest show ever.
And the thing is, like, especially over this last stretch, I was actually building a case for myself that Devon Taves actually hasn't been that bad, and this is mostly falling on Cale Makar. But you're in a 2-1 game in the third period, and who is it that takes the penalty that loses the Avs this game? It's Devon Taves. Your entire top pairing is throwing this game away. And they have to play better than that.
Yeah, it's frustrating when so much of the time there isn't a thing that we can point to that says, here's the problem. It's just like, you are paying top money for a top defensive pairing that has been exceptional over the last 4 years to
continue doing that.
Be that, and it's not that right now.
Yep.
And, like, this is relative to their own play, not the league.
Of course.
Because when you start to stack up their numbers against the entire league, you're like,
pretty fine.
you're like, this is like a...
It's not amazing, but
this
it's
is a
fine.
top pairing in the NHL. They're very, very good. Yep. And Cale Makar is a point-per-game defenseman that we have taken to whining about on a regular basis because he's not been good enough. And in my entire lifetime, I didn't think I would see a defenseman this good playing for the Avalanche. So it's like... like it's just for some perspective there. Yes, relative to their own expectations, we are disappointed. But this is they are built to win.
Yeah, exactly.
They are built to win based on how they play relative to their ability to play.
Yep.
That you are not built with Sam Girard and Josh Manson driving offense for you. You're not built with Ross Colton to try and score 20 goals between Miles Wood and Logan O'Connor. The only reason that trio has stayed together for as long as it has is because it has worked. Yep. And when it doesn't work, you have a problem in your depth. You have a Mikko Rantanen problem, which felt like it was fixed for 4 whole days. And you always know it's going to be up and down with that guy. It's very inconsistent with him. That's who he is. That's the Mikko Rantanen experience, certainly in the regular season.
Well, I thought Mikko would have been outstanding today. It was Hockey Day in Finland, I believe, today, and all over Twitter is all Finnish players, being interviewed, and it's Mika Kiprusoff night in Calgary, and I just thought today of all days, after Elias Pettersson signed that big deal, if I'm Mikko, I'm like, oh, I'm liking this. I mean, that's a big number. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I thought he was going to show up a little bit better than what he did tonight.
I think you could say that of 90% of the Avs roster.
No, I know, but we were talking about Mikko.
But and the thing is, as AJ said with Mikko, you're not lost in the woods here. You've gone through this before with Mikko, which is why I'm less concerned about that and more concerned about a Cale Makar situation where we've never seen him go through this before.
Yeah, which is why you say, is it time to hit that panic button? What do you do?
I get it.
I mean, you can break that pairing up. You can break up your top line. You can break up Rantanen and MacKinnon and just say, okay, well, the way that MacKinnon is playing, maybe he can just do this with anybody right now. And Mikko needs a wake-up call of some kind because you are immediately right back to the same world. Okay, great. He was awesome against Chicago. Yep. Cool. You are right back in the world of you can't beat decent teams on the road. Not even like really good teams. You did lose to all those teams. You can't even beat the decent ones.
Yep.
Losing in Detroit and Nashville?
Those are bubble teams.
Right. Like those are like middle of the road teams that you should not be losing on a consistent basis to. This road thing has become a really big problem.
Yeah.
But I'll jump in. Guess what?
Yeah.
So you got a week. You got a week left. There's for a deadline. And I know what you're saying, like sometimes you just need to tweak it a little bit. We all know Val's going to make a tweak. We all know that. Like he's
definitely,
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Again, to what extent is he going to come back and play to the level he was playing this year? Hopefully. I mean, I would assume he's not going to skip a beat, but it might take him a few games, but it's definitely changes the dynamics of their forward group. It does. Now,
A lot.
now you got another week, and here's what I'll say on the deadline, meaning that you can tweak your team, and sometimes one move helps you get out of this funk that we're talking about. But you got to remember, if you've been following the Avs, like a lot of the people on chat, you guys, all of us here in Denver, like this 2C problem, it hasn't been like, it didn't start yesterday. You know what I mean? Like it's been
almost 2 years.
That's
really.
my point. And I'm not throwing daggers here at the crew there. It's not easy sometimes to go and fix it. It looked like they might have tried to stopgap it, like with, the Rigel experiment, where they were getting half the salary taken.
They
retain,
got a guy with an entire career of being a top 6 center for free.
We don't have to rehash this.
No, that's not. No, what I'm trying to say is like, and it's easy to say like, oh, they got a week left now to fix it. Well, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to say.
I got you.
It's not that easy, and it doesn't mean it's going to get fixed here in the next 2 weeks. Next week because there's a week left.
Well, and look,
6 days.
I certainly believe the Avs should go out and make the moves.
I do too.
They owe it to Nathan MacKinnon, if nothing else.
Absolutely. You and that as a manager, you have to.
I agree.
And honestly, like this is as much of a legacy deadline as CMAC. It's tough to say in the second year on the job.
And yet,
but you don't get a lot of runway when you are the GM of an elite. A team that has elite talent with extremely high expectations, you don't get a lot of runway for this.
No.
Year one, whatever context there is, however it all unfolded, it's a first round exit. Right now, he's got to figure it out.
Yep.
He's got to try and do what he can to not repeat that. Because if the Avs are a first round exit again, C-Mac's on the hot seat.
Yep.
Next season.
It's go time.
All the randomness, all the things that could happen. He's probably not getting this level of Nathan MacKinnon again next year.
Yep.
So, you have to capitalize on the moment that you're in. And as a manager, and this was one of the reasons why your dad was so incredible at what he did, because he wasn't afraid of the moment he was in. And he understood that there's a time to do it. And when he had Joe Sakic and Peter Forsberg and Patrick Waugh, he understood he was always in that moment. Mm-hmm. It's not like he did that. It's not like he didn't act that way with the Nordiques.
Yeah.
But when he had those guys, he understood this is the moment to do it. And part of that is owing it to those guys. And they owe it to Nathan MacKinnon right now to do it. But, a game like this is incredibly discouraging on the whole.
It is. I agree.
I want to get further into that, but first, chat owes it to itself to go sign up for Bet365 and bet against the Avs on the road. Use code DNVR365 when you sign up for Bet365. Bet $5 on any NHL game. You get $150 in bonus bets. So you get a ton of money to play around with. Bet on whatever you want, whether that's the Avs winning, losing, or anything else you want to do. The Nuggets are playing right now. You can go bet on them. You can bet on all sorts of other wacky and wild sports. I always throw some money down on esports because I'm a degenerate. But, you can go have fun with it. Make sure you sign up with the DNVR365 code over at Bet365. And, of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Also, when you win some money with them, make sure you're putting it in a good place. That being Premier Members Credit Union. They're a credit union, not a bank, which means they do things differently. They offer you a ton of options to make you more money, whether it be a new high-yield savings account or you can earn 5% APY on your first $2,000 with their reverse tier money market. Whatever your goals, they can help. PMCU is all about creating a better banking experience for their community, and PMCU has the tools to help you save smarter. When you become a new member today, you'll get $200 with PMCU. All you have to do is sign up for an account and open up e-statements. That's it. They'll give you $200 for a new checking account. This will be your best money move yet when you head over to becomepremier.com to find out more. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Exactly what you guys were saying before the break is my big concern with this game.
Nice.
What?
Nothing.
What?
selling shit.
That's
right.
Yeah, we may or may not be giving one of those away very soon. Anyway,
May.
I don't know.
Oh, you meant like May as in like you might. I thought you said May as in like the month. I was like, no, that's too far.
We could give one away in May too. You don't know.
Yeah, we don't know that.
If it goes well. Anyways.
While I still believe the Avs do have to make these moves at the deadline, you look at some of the shifts tonight, and going out and getting a guy doesn't solve a Bowen Byram just AFK defending in the defensive zone.
Yeah, and like at that point, it's,
get the
it's
game was
late
over
in the third
anyway.
period. Like you definitely have you're in the NHL. Show that there's still some skin in the game here, my guy.
Yep.
And him completely giving up on that play is bullshit.
Yep.
And that's a goal that you actually do feel for your goaltender.
Totally.
Where you're like,
Dude got hung out to dry.
come on with that. But yeah, like that's the entire third period from the Avs, though.
They got
That's
smoked the
that's
whole
a
period.
Blatant example. It's very easy to point to where you're like, dude.
Yep. And that's my concern, right? Getting a guy or guys doesn't make players all of a sudden become more engaged necessarily. It could. They could help the locker room culture or whatever you want to call it, but at a certain point, each individual Av has to step up and do their own job. I still believe the Avs should go out and make moves. I still believe they can be a contending cup team, but they certainly were not tonight.
No. And here's my beef and your beef and everybody's beef is it's they haven't found their level of consistency, not only as individuals, but as a team, you know what I mean? So like Bo's been inconsistent individually. Just look, guys have been inconsistent. Now as a team, they figure it out. And somebody was talking about a 10-0 run. Like, do I believe in it? I still do. I'm still a believer.
With 20 games to go?
Yeah, I am. But I do need that. I mean that this week is crucial.
Yeah.
I think it's a crucial week for them because when I tell you guys all the time, I use Edmonton all the time. Like, all of a sudden, like their goaltending's great. No, the warts are there. You know what I mean? So then the Avs is the same thing. Like they've been inconsistent. So that's there. And I do believe that they got a week left. And I go back to they owe it to the Nate MacKinnons of the world, like to beef this up. And you got to gamble. You got to gamble in this league if you want to go and do some damage. And I do believe they are in a space in a world where they can gamble this week. I do. And then all of a sudden, you find your groove as a team. You find your identity. You find your consistency. Val, I hear this Kovalenko guy. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I've never seen him play. So
He's fun.
no, that's what I'm saying. So better keep
good.
Renta. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming. I'm hoping. You know what I mean? Like so it's all of a sudden your lineup's a little more solid. Kale gets out of his funk. Yeah, we're all humans. He's in a funk, whether it's mentally in a funk, whether it's physical, whether he's sick, whether he's he's something
Whatever
healing,
it is,
something. He's still an elite player. He's got 60 points, and we're complaining about a season. You know what I mean? But
He's
that's
second in the NHL in defenseman
that's what
scoring.
I'm saying.
And we're like,
Kale's
hurt
because he's the best. Again, I'll go back. He's my favorite player in the world. So, but we're all human. We all go through stuff, Kale included. So, but they got a week to fix it in a sense that I'm going back to my point of the Oilers. Like, fine, if they go in their war room and they decide that their goaltending, no, it's fixed. Awesome, good for them. I do believe the Avs are in their war room. They're not saying our warts are fixed.
And that's kind of the point you're making here is if you want to ask if the Avs are cup contenders, ask again in a week.
Here's my point. Yes,
Because
you're freaking way better than I am at expressing yourself.
if
Freaking right.
at the deadline the only thing they do is go out and get Nick Dowd, I'm sorry, but I don't think this team's good enough.
I agree. I'm with you. That's where I'm at.
I haven't.
Yeah.
You've worked in front offices.
Yes. I brought donuts. But yeah.
How was that? Where'd you get them from?
Krispy Kreme guy. If you're listening, Krispy Kreme, call us. I'm kidding.
We got a sponsorship opportunity.
I tell you what, I know enough people from New England that eschew the religion of Dunkin'.
No, can't do it.
For the greatness of Krispy Kreme,
Mind it, but
Yeah.
which I find interesting. I just find that interesting. And anyway, this is not the point.
It's not.
When you where you're at with the Avalanche right now, and we're saying they owe it to Nathan MacKinnon to do something.
Yeah.
Would it not also maybe behoove the Avs to, when they go and make a big move at the deadline, in order to make maybe a bigger move, you trade somebody off that roster as well? To just, not necessarily as a scare tactic, but as a, we're serious about this. And again, it's not punitive. It would be for the purpose of getting a better return that you think can help you more. But a guy that, and I don't even have a suggestion here.
No, I know what you're saying.
But I'm saying, is the room too comfortable as is right now, where everybody kind of feels entrenched in the jobs that they have, and they're a little cozy? And sometimes if you make a move and a guy that thought he was comfortable in his position gets moved out, everybody else kind of goes, okay, we have to fix this in the last 18 games in playoffs. Otherwise, come summer, my job might not be safe.
Well, I'm going to answer first as a player, saying I do believe the deadline has an effect on people. I do believe that. I've always believed it. I believed it as a player. The situation the Avs are in is you don't want to get traded, because it usually is a good opportunity for you to be here and play with those world-class players.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get traded. So it does affect you. And when I say affect you, it affects you mentally. It does. And then you look around, and every day you're tying your skates, you're looking to see if the freaking equipment guy's walking around, and he's like, Rudo, coach wants to see you. And then you're like, oh, God, oh, Jesus.
Here it comes.
It does. You hide. Like, it's human nature. Well, you heard Bob. We haven't heard yet, but you know what I'm saying. Bob talked about it. But
We talked to Bob. You guys haven't heard it yet.
You know what I mean? It sucks, because and I've seen it. I've seen it. Guys get moved, and it sucks. You know what I mean? And then I've seen it when you're on a piss poor team, you want to get moved.
You can't wait
and then
to get out of there.
You can't wait to get out of there. You're all excited. But here it's not. So it's a different kind of, anxiety. This is tough anxiety. Now, on the front office side of things, like, I come from a background, and I'm not comparing anyone. Like, I'm just saying, if you have a chance to go for it, you go for it. And you have to have a belief in. I go back to that stupid line from Berkey. There's only one Stanley Cup winner, and there is. 31 teams will be disappointed, or whatever. I don't know. Maybe San Jose's come to reality right now. They're not winning the cup this year, but I don't know. Anaheim, San Jose. So you're down to 16.
I think
15, 14 teams that.
You keep coming back to that quote about there's only one team, but I think the part of it that stuck with me the most is that 10 days after everybody made this whole rush to get in, 10 days later, half are gone.
You're down to 8 teams.
In the blink of an eye, you're down to 8.
So whatever you made.
If you're the 9th best team in the NHL, on paper, you're like, I built the 9th best team in the NHL, and you're at home.
You're home.
May
and then
1st, you're done.
And then you lost your first round pick, for the Boston Bruins last year, You owe it to your team, your franchise. You have the best regular season in the history of the game, and you go and make a couple moves, and 10 days later, you're gone. And you lost those assets for nothing. But I think as a management team, like, I don't mind if it's a roster guy. I got no problem. And I understand it's a little different nowadays with the salary cap era and all that kind of stuff. But if there's an opportunity to do it and it makes your team better, and you have to get rid of a guy that's on the roster, then so be it. Because it's so freaking hard to win this freaking Stanley Cup, though. I got no problem.
Again, Nathan MacKinnon is on his way to the best season in Avalanche history right now. And if you cannot push your chips into the middle when he's having that season, when can you?
Yeah.
Put it in. I'm with you. Put it in. And right now, I go back to my Edmonton example, meaning like the words are there. They've been there. The inconsistency of the year. You need to fix it. You need to have they have the pulse more than we do, even though we cover this team, and And, they're the guys that are in the freaking room. They're the guys that are there every day, know exactly what they have. I think you owe it to do something. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping to do something. And sometimes it might be over aggressive. Go to Tampa a couple years ago. Didn't make sense what they did, but guess what? They had that silver thing at the end. No one questioned it.
Yep.
Well, you understand that a first round pick to you is going to be less valuable because of where you're going to be picking.
That's right.
Oh, hey, you're talking about ideally this is the 32nd pick, but it could also be the 26th pick.
Best case scenario, it's like mid-20s.
Yeah.
And
And
best case pick scenario.
and so it might be more valuable to you to go I know you love the Barclay Goodrow Blake Coleman example, and I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Were those guys worth first round picks in a vacuum? Would other teams have paid first round picks for them? No, but Tampa Bay did because they understood that that's what they needed to use. That's what they needed to pay to fix their problem.
That's what I was saying right there.
To get to where they needed to be.
I'm stopping you right now. That's why I said 2 seconds ago when I said they know their team. They're the ones that,
Exactly.
And then you have to have that mentality that you're talking about and then the balls to do it.
And that's look, CMAC is early. It's still early days for CMAC on the job. Of
course.
And I think other than the Ryjo move, he had a pretty good summer.
Yeah.
A lot of things have worked out. A lot of things have gone pretty well. Ultimately, he needs to have the balls here to step up and find a solution, to find a guy that can really help them and not be so obsessed with. But the price. I'm not saying pay 3 first-round picks for Adam Henrique just because that gets a deal done. But he needs to have balls this week.
Yep.
Because it's a team with an obvious flaw. But it's also a team that you can look at and say, it's not that far.
Yep.
It's really not that far.
To me,
you just don't want to be the 9th best team.
Of course you don't want to be the 9th best team, but if I'm Chris McFarland, I have to believe, I don't know. They would have more information on how healthy a Cale Makar is exactly than I would. But I have to believe they have some understanding of, we think we're going to get this version of Cale Makar, that version of Cale Makar come playoff time. We think we're going to have a Val Nichushkin back next week. He should have a very good picture of how good the Avs can be. And he needs to make them better.
Yeah. And there's an obvious avenue to better. It's not some nebulous concept of we need to get a depth defenseman here. We want a guy that could play on our second pairing or a third pairing. No, you need a center
chest wound in the middle of your forward core.
You need a center. You need at absolute worst. I swear to God, at absolute worst, you need a top 9 center.
Yep.
And I'm reading the chat saying that people are saying Goudreau and Coleman aren't second. Nobody here is saying Goudreau and Coleman are second line center.
Previous
Those were the
examples
needs
overpays
that Tampa needed
and they
to go and fix it.
And they wouldn't win a Stanley Cup because of it. In part because of those guys.
Nobody's
not
saying
because
they're
of
centers.
those guys.
I knew someone was going to comment this.
What is it?
They got a 5th round pick for Tatar and replaced him with Zach Parise, and it's worked out fine.
Right.
So,
And Tatar was
didn't cost him anything.
it cost him $1.5 million that they moved on from 27 games in and upgraded to Zach Parise. Mm-hmm. If you want to be like, oh, he missed on Tatar, it was the lowest risk move, and they moved on.
Was Tatar a good fit?
It didn't matter.
No, but they actively gained assets by signing that guy.
Yeah,
So
and Ryjo is a much more high impact. Tatar was signed to be this is a guy that's going to be a 3rd-line wing for you. Ryjo needed to be a top 6 center for them, and it hasn't gone that way.
Yep.
It is a much bigger miss. It is a much more impactful miss. Frederick Olofsson is also now in the AHL, so that was also a miss. And you guys want to talk about that? These are silly nitpicks of things that ignore the fact that it would have been great had Tomas Tatar worked out better.
Yep.
It didn't. They moved on. They found a better solution. Zach Parise has already been better than what Tomas Tatar was for the Avs. And they're fine. They're fine at wing now.
Yep.
They are fine at that position.
Not to mention Kovalenko's potential coming over.
Well, yeah, Nichushkin,
the return of Nichushkin.
We have 11 games this year for the Avalanche where both Val Nichushkin and Arturi Lehkonen have played.
Yep.
And I think that 11th game, Lehkonen got hurt in the first period. So They have 10 real games here. So we have not, like, it is fair to say you can easily look at the lineup and say there is more to come. There will be there are 2 guys that we expect to add to the forward core.
Yep.
That are already Avs.
Yeah.
Like signed by the Avs that they will add. If there are other injuries, that stuff happens, blah, 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 whatever. None of this is the point. There is one thing that they really, really need. And then after that, it is just like,
I agree.
You're raising the floor.
And I read some people earlier saying, "Oh, there's no one's available." Hey, listen, it's the NHL. Anyone's available. I'm being honest.
If the price is right,
if the price is right, anyone's available. So sometimes if you have to get player X, that's a D, and you have to go trade him for player. I'm going to use names that we've talked about. For example, Middlestat or Bo By. If that's what you need, I'm just saying. People are available. You just have to be willing to.
You have to have balls.
Have balls and let go what you want to let go, because that's what you believe will fix your lineup, right? So,
are you guys trying to tell me that the Avs are trying to tie one on right now?
Man, just do the thing.
Go get yourself a Breck Brew, the craft beer of DNVR. You can, of course, get their Avalanche Amber Ale anywhere in the United States. Use the Breck Beer Locator online at breckbrew.com to find it near you. And then, if you want to eat your way through the pain, Circle K is the way to go. Go check out Circle K's Inner Circle reward program at circlek.com/innercircle, or use the QR code on screen. When you sign up, you get 25 cents off a gallon on your first 5 fill-ups with their gas. You also get a bunch of other amazing deals on food and snacks, including up to 5 free Polar Pops when you first sign up. So get those Inner Circle rewards today. Use that QR code on screen and head to Circle K. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I do not want to understate it. And this game is a perfect example of why you owe it to Nathan MacKinnon. Because that guy goes out there and makes this game competitive. He's trying to pull on that rope in the right direction. He creates multiple good opportunities. He finishes one of them. And Toews makes a good breakout pass. Mikko makes a nice pass to find him. Mm-hmm. But it's Nathan MacKinnon doing the finishing there.
It's a great finish.
Yeah, all world stuff. And if he can make the Avs look competitive in this game, imagine what he can do with a little bit of help. That's why you owe Nathan MacKinnon this run.
No. And there's some help. Val Nichushkin's back in a week or two.
Yep.
That's an important guy. I know everybody loves to cite the record of the Avs with and without him. It's meaningful.
It's a little deceiving, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, and I know that there's the argument of, is Val Nichushkin, how can he be that important? Well, he's one of the 10 best two-way, like high-end two-way wings in the NHL.
Yep.
At his best. He's
imagine Vegas without Mark Stone.
That's what I was going to say. Arguably your third best forward.
Yep.
Like, he's an important guy to have.
It's huge. And what he does is what you don't see on the score sheet, and he tires the opposition out because he's relentless. He's a hunter. It's annoying, and you know what I mean. And what the Avs didn't do tonight, where the chaos line usually does that, they were awful tonight. So then all of a sudden, what it does is they have Kiefer Sherwood finishing their game. I mean, are you serious? I mean, it's kind of embarrassing. I'm not. No offense to Kiefer Sherwood, but. Really? That's what you got, to close out your game against a cup contender, the Avalanche? Come on. It's because they didn't do enough. People didn't do their jobs. It's not just scoring goals. It's you got to do what you got to do as a line. You got to wear down the opposition, right? The chaos line. They didn't do that tonight. Yeah. So therefore, when Mac gets on the ice with those guys, then the other teams are not tired. They're not, So there was just no cohesiveness. There was no 5-man units. There was nothing. It was just... And hockey, right?
I would also point out that, yes, hockey is not a one-person game. It's a team game. But if you go out and add one person to the lineup, that affects the entire team.
Well, we're talking about Val. That it affects everything.
Without the addition of a second-line center, right? Just look at the roster as is.
Yep.
You add Val Nichushkin, and then now Zach Parise moves down in your lineup.
Zach Parise's not a second line player. Come on.
Zach Parise moves down. And all right, are you going to mess with that chaos line? Maybe, because Zach
After a
Parise
night like tonight.
pretty good.
Yeah. It'd be easy to mess
Like,
with.
would you move Miles Wood down?
Yeah, he'd be the guy. but I would
Because
move off
Miles
of it.
Wood is a much worse defensive player at this point than Zach Parise is. Adds a lot of other things to the game, but you add Zach Parise next to Ross Colton and LOC. That line defensively is much better.
Yeah.
And how much have they lost in the other areas?
Not much.
I wonder. So then, okay, now Miles Wood now is moved down to your fourth line. He replaces Kiviranta. Now he's with Cogliano and Chris Wagner. All right, well, that line had a pretty good game today.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was your best
I
line. Like
know.
that's the point of it's the point you're making. It's
Yeah.
not just Val. It's
Everyone below him also gets put in a better
three
spot.
lines just
Yeah.
got better with one move. Now you add Kovalenko, you add a second line center. Now every single line just got better. Your first line just got better because now you have the flexibility to play Druin up there and have a crazy defensively good strong line. You could play Val up there and Lehkonen with Druin and it just all the pieces fit better when you just put the bow on it. Those guys, you get the guys back that you put the guys in the lineup that you've paid for.
Yep. That's it.
Let's see what the team. There is. My point here is there is reason to believe there is better on the way. Today was unacceptable. Today was incredibly.
Fully agree.
It's incredibly frustrating,
100%.
and it is very discouraging because they continue to give you piss poor efforts on the road. That's not a Val Nichushkin problem.
No.
That's an everybody problem. That's an everybody pulling the rope in the same direction problem. That's a complacency problem. That's a Jared Bednar problem. It's a leadership problem. It's a Nathan MacKinnon problem.
Yep.
It's an everybody problem. It's a you looking at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and saying, was I good enough? Problem.
That's it.
That's an everybody problem. Jared Bednar didn't do enough for them today. Nathan MacKinnon didn't do enough for them today. Alexander Georgiev didn't do enough for them today. Cale Makar. Pick a guy.
Yep.
There isn't anybody in an Avalanche sweater on this day that you say this guy's immune.
It's a great point because even the guys we
all
said
need to be better.
who played well tonight. This is a completely different game if Nathan MacKinnon finishes that additional breakaway opportunity that Saros stops him on. It's a completely different game if Chris
the same.
Wagner scores instead of hitting the post, right?
Yeah, and makes it 2-2 at the start of the third. And who knows what the game looks like.
Yep. So
But that's not the world that you got in, and you still just quit.
But I'm saying there are, even for the guys who played well, there are specific things that they can look at and say, I could have been better tonight.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh shit, 100%. I always said when you get in the shower after the game, this should be your reflection time for you're washing your hair. You're like, hey, did I give it my best? Did I give it my all? You know what I mean? And that if that's the answer is yes, then you've done your job.
You shouldn't have allowed him to shower. If you're going to stink on the ice, you have to stink off it too. You have to stink all the way on the plane home.
Oh, that'd be a tough plane ride down.
And I used
It's
to
only
say
from
to
Nashville. It's not.
It's not that far.
It's not like New York.
It was
man.
it was like a 4-hour one. That'd be tough, yeah.
but you have to be honest with
No,
yourself.
you're
do,
right.
You know,
You're right.
and it's I use the shower because it's like it's your time you can reflect by yourself for a second. You know what I mean? So, but you have to be honest, and say, and if you want to win, winning is hard.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody talks about they want to win, but do you really want to win? It's freaking tough. It is tough to win. You heard Goo the other game. He got to Chicago. Then they won the first 3 rounds. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm going to win the Stanley Cup as a player." And then he goes, "Yeah." And then we lose 4 straight to Pittsburgh or whatever it was.
Smoked by the Pens.
He's like, "Wow, there's still that much to go. Winning is tough, or else everybody would win.
Yeah.
Not everybody wins." Some guys go 20 years. Ray Bohr, 20 years without winning, and then finally he gets the cup from Joe, right? It's like, winning's freaking tough as shit. It is.
Yep.
So you can say you're about winning, but you have to show that you're about winning. And sometimes this is where they're at right now. They have to show that they want to win as a group, as individuals, and as a front office. You know what I mean? I think they have to show that they want to win.
I don't mind the season that they've had through 40 games.
Yeah.
Even through 50, you're starting to be like, all right. But you've played 62 games now, and I'm not fine with it anymore. At some point, you pass the Rubicon of you're trying to tighten the screws, you're trying to get better, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, you're finding your identity, you're finding roles, you do all this shit.
That by now, when are they going to get tightened?
You need to start putting the pieces together, because the teams that are serious about winning, the teams that aren't talking about winning and are being about winning, are starting to win. And enough that you're not going to be able to overcome that. And if you're not going to be a very good road team, you have to be an unbelievably good home team, which means that you have to get home ice in the postseason.
There it is.
And right now, you're not in a position to have home ice in the postseason.
Yep.
You have to outplay what Dallas and Winnipeg are going to do down the stretch, and they have a points advantage on you. They have games in hand advantages on you. They've got everything that they need to ensure that your life is as difficult as possible going into the postseason, because you're not taking care of your own goddamn business.
I agree.
Because you got to do what? Raise the floor? If you're trying to raise your floor, Empire Today.
Yes.
1-800-588-2300 Empire, baby. Go check them out. If you go today to empiretoday.com, you get $350 off your new floors when you go to empiretoday.com/DNVR. Let them know DNVR sent you over there. Empire Today, awesome. They have professional installers, all sorts of amazing cool stuff at empiretoday.com. They have a whole projection program where you can measure out your room and put it on there and then project what those floors might look like. We just got new flooring in Studio A, so it's super nice. Go check it out on the Nuggets watch along right now. It looks super duper good. Go check it out and get with Empire Today right now. Go do it. Call the number or go to empiretoday.com/DNVR. Let them know we sent you over there. Get yourself some sweet new carpet if you're me, or if you like hardwoods, you can do that too. It's fine. And then enjoy some Illegal Pete's. 12 different locations here in Colorado now. One just opened up over in Wheat Ridge. You can go get it, go pregame an Avs game or whatever you might be doing. Happy hour from 3 to 8 p.m. at Illegal Pete's. Delicious burritos, delicious margaritas. You can't go wrong. You got to go check them out.
Definitely want to start eating and drinking before games, because you might feel too sick after the game to do it.
Hey, look, some people are sadness eaters, all right? You can eat away the pain of the Avs loss too. It's all right. You can do it that way. Do it with Illegal Pleats, whatever you do. We do have one super chat. $5 from Tyler, who says, "Give me that sign, LOL." It's a cool sign, not going to lie. That's pretty cool. Coors Light Avs sign.
It is actually pretty cool.
Very nice.
I'll give it to him.
Get his address. Let's ship it to him.
Nope, you got to.
My mic on? Oh, my mic's on.
Tiff will know the info.
I don't know all the info, but actually, if you go check out the Nuggets watch along right now, they are doing a neon sign giveaway as part of like the watch along. We are going to do something similar, I think, next Wednesday for the Detroit game.
There you go.
So if you would like the chance to win one of these kick-ass neon signs, tune into the watch along. But also keep an eye out on our socials for like real legitimate details.
There you go. Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, real details.
Not ramblings.
I'm good, fellas. Any final thoughts you want to add on a loss that you just can't keep doing this?
Yeah, just not about this game, because I'm ready to bin this and move on completely. But roast my roster on Tuesday.
Yep.
We are not going to look at any submissions after Sunday.
Get them in by tomorrow. Well, on tomorrow.
Yeah. Rudo and I tomorrow night at the end of the night, because we're both night owls, we'll go in and we will pick our submissions for Tuesday's show, which will just be a bunch of roster baiting. That's all Tuesday's show is going to be. It's just a bunch of cap-friendly roster baiting. So
everyone's favorite show of the year.
Yeah, it's so the roast my roster will feature a new member of the team this year.
Yeah.
It is the
roster Rizzler.
It is the roster Rizzler.
Good guy. I met him.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Weird outfit, but you know, we all have our fashion choices.
I think the kids call that drip.
Yeah. I mean, roster Rizzler, drip daddy. Who's to say? So, just I know after the McDermott thing, just to let you guys know, give you guys the update on that. We will not, anything that happens on Monday, we will not be looking at any of those submissions.
Yep.
I'm not saying you guys can't still mess around on Cap Friendly. Just you won't need to tag us in it anymore. So tonight, tomorrow, whatever's already happened, just an update on where we are with that show. We are excited to do it.
Put DNVR in the title of your submission.
Yeah, put DNVR in there so that we can know to go back. I wish they had a date thing on it because I don't want to look at anything before the McDermott deal.
Yeah, I know.
We just changed the landscape of it enough, then whatever. So anyway, that's just some housekeeping on Tuesday's show. Weird to do it on Tuesdays, so close to the deadline.
It just worked out that way.
Yeah, we usually try and do it a week early, but
accidentally scheduled Friday as our off day this week, so it just worked out that way.
Ended up going great because we didn't waste a bunch of time on Curtis McDermott getting traded 16 different times.
Yeah.
So
The only thing I want to add is and again, I don't want to get into a discussion. I just Reading, Pennsylvania.
guys, he's French.
Yeah, sorry. Reading chat earlier about Kovalenko. I don't want to get into a discussion. I'm just saying. I just want to bring it up. Like,
We got time. It was a short show.
I'm just saying, like, people are arguing about Kovalenko. Like, there's nothing to argue about. The guy comes over. He's never played in the NHL. Who knows? He might be freaking awesome. He might be a great fit. He might be a shitty fit. It doesn't matter. He is drafted, so he's allowed to come over after a season.
He signed on an ELC.
That's it. I mean, he's
going to come over. He's going to play 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 games,
and
whatever
guess
it
what?
is. And if he sucks, then
it's
he won't
not a
play
big
in the
deal.
playoffs.
And that's it. And then if he's great, then there's a fit, or all of a sudden you got to create your opportunity. And if he is more than the bottom 6 this year, then you'll see. And then all of a sudden, that's how legends are born. That's how shit is born. And if it doesn't work, they didn't lose anything. It's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, it's not.
And
Okay, great. Then he comes back to training camp next year, and then he fights for a spot. Then if he's not, I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, it's an asset they drafted years ago. He's signed, like you said, to an ELC law. He's played in the men's league for a few years. He's a tank. Who knows? Again, might be better than Kiva. I don't know. Kiva we can't complain about him tonight. He was fine. That line was fine.
we have tried to temper the expectations for Kovalenko.
What's wrong?
Nothing. I just
But-
showed Spider Gritty on the thing.
Oh, sorry.
We have tried to temper expectations for Kovalenko just because it's kind of a tough spot for him to be in, and it's a deep enough team at wing specifically that who knows. But boy, if their 2C answer is, hey, we saw him play center in the KHL playoffs, and now we're gonna give him that job. Boy, we're talking about having balls. That's a different kind of balls.
Those ones might be shriveled.
But
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's not. You know what I mean? It's not.
who's to say if it's raisins or a grape?
Who knows? But we'll see. That's all I'm trying to say. And it's not about hurting feelings. You're trying to win the Stanley Cup.
Exactly.
If this guy freaking comes in and he's better than you, then move your ass.
Yep.
And then somebody's saying the Avs got to get it together in March. Yeah, it's, you know what? Usually the guy that wins the Stanley Cup is the team that puts it together, that's moving into the playoffs, playing the best hockey that they can be, which is not what the Avs are doing right now. But they got time. Is it time for red flags and a little bit of the P word? Yeah, maybe. You know what I mean? And that's why you have a little bit of time next week to try to fix those things.
Yeah.
And then you get your injury. Forget about Gabe. Gabe's been gone 2 years. Love Gabe. That's not what I'm saying. But you have Val coming back. That is a big piece. You get a big piece of your engine back. Then you figure it out. So I think it's time for concerns, but it's time to act. And
95% of the team that they're going to chase the Stanley Cup with is already maybe not on the ice tonight, but in place.
Yes.
They're signed. They're acquired. They're part of the organization already.
There you go.
That's it.
Go fix it a little bit.
Okay, we're getting out of here. We are off tomorrow, but we'll be back for the game Monday. So
How many shows do we have left before the actual deadline day? Is it Tuesday and Thursday
yeah, for off day. Yeah, it's just
for
2.
off days? So we're gonna roast rosters, and then we have the day before the deadline.
Yep, that's it. That's all we got left.
He's leaving. It's quick.
I'm going home. Goodbye, chat. We'll see you on Monday.
Y'all silly like the mayor.